the French Terran player, the 5-time European champion. It's Clem. Up against a man who doesn't respect your championships or you in general, whether it's with his builds or his general demeanor. Dark, the final boss, is a way of getting in your head and living there rent-free, and maybe even taking your prize money. Dark is a menace in general, but also to face in the StarCraft tournaments. His mechanics are good, but I don't think anyone would call them incredible. His build orders are creative and effective, but not the tightest anyone has ever seen or the most efficient. He just relies on a killer instinct that is rarely seen in Zerg players. So I'm excited to see him go up against arguably, at one point it was argued, the best micro Terran out there. But recently, with Beyond's resurgence, at first, Clem was compared to Beyond. And then there was a time when it seemed like Beyond would be compared to Clem. I think Beyond somewhat recently has taken back that Michelangelo title, but we will see what Clem has to bring to the table here in the IEM Katowice group stages. It's a best of 3, starting on Grezvin, so who knows how long we'll be here. But if they have any long-term macro strategies, then maybe it's time to bring it out. But on the other hand, Dark is opting for a Roach one, because of course he is. But it doesn't look like a Roach all-in. I want to talk about a relatively new style that has cropped up on this and I think other quite large maps where you have a lot of space. Is going for the Roach Ward and then kind of shifting back into Lingbane after. I mean, it's a bit of an adaptation, what we've already seen many times in the past. Doesn't mean you can't keep going Roaches. But if you get, well, not usually 7 Roaches, 3 Roaches or so, just to zone out Hellions, help with any early Marine drops. Essentially, it doesn't take nearly as much of your larva as Zerglings do in dealing with the early aggression. So while it is a bit of an investment, if they end up going for Hellbats or something like that, it doesn't hurt either. So what it's supposed to do is allow you to go up to like 60, 70 drones somewhat cheaply while making the Terran react to you. But here, Dark, I mean, he's going to do his best to make the Terran react to him. He's already got some of the Roaches headed out, but leaving some at home. So I think he wants to mask it, make it look like it's going to be that defensive Roach, but then at the same time throw Clem off with 4 Roaches on the other side of the map. 4 Roaches, enough to one-shot SCVs. I believe 3 is the number, but has the extra. Clem, on the other hand, is going what I'm now going to, I'm going to put a term on it. Hypermech. Not just Battle Mech. Battle Mech historically was Cyclone Hellbat. Maybe you throw in other units, but Hypermech uses the Hyperflight Banshees that we're seeing already. So many factories and the starport. And it revolves around being there faster and more efficiently. You can tilt a battle into your favor with these units incredibly quickly, because even Zerg units can barely keep up, especially with the Banshees. But while the Roaches are not particularly fast, well, they still got here. This is such a Dark move. He just walks up with 4 Roaches and kills 10 SCVs and drags the entire army back. On paper, and many times in practice, it looks pretty dumb. But if it works, is it dumb? Well, 62 drones, going up to 70 now. Infestation bit on the way. He is getting more Roaches, but I think he's realized he's dealing with Hypermech. And there's going to be the Hyper Shees as well. I can't just keep saying how. You choose one or the other. The Speed Shees. No, just stop saying. Just Speed Banshees. It's not that many syllables. Sorry. Like and subscribe so we can afford more syllables. I don't know if we begged for it already, but thank you guys for watching. I hope you've been enjoying the commentary of IEM Katowice. I hope you continue to. I really appreciate it. Blue Flame. Mag Field. Hyperflight completing. 2 more factories. Clem is going full-on Hypermech. It is going to be every version of those relatively abusive Terran units. I say it because every one of these units essentially revolves around winning a fight while your opponent can't even hit you. The Hyperflight Banshees can outfly anything but Mutas. Of course, they only have to pick a fight when they want to against the queens, as long as Clem is watching for them. The Cyclones are much the same way. They lock on and run away, but a little bit slow means Dark comes up and kills 3 of them immediately with a vengeance there. But the Banshees come in to tilt the scales, and he doesn't just put a thumb, he pounds a fist on the scale with those Banshees. And that is what they're so strong at. Their DPS is just so high. So, the changes to the Hyperflight Banshee in the newest patch, the upgrade is like 25 cheaper. That's it. It was already a very relatively... it's one of those things, it feels like a placebo effect that the Banshees are being used more. The upgrade was not that expensive in the first place, it just nobody was getting it. So it's one of the... Just put it on discount, put it on sale, and it's like you're losing money not to get it. The Mag Field Accelerator Cyclones were nerf buffed. So with the upgrade, they used to do plus 20 damage to armored, so they would actually be quite good against roaches and building. Now it's plus 10 to everything. So less specialized against roaches and sniping hatcheries, but it works extra against queens, against mutalisks. It also got a change to the AI where it helps, it automatically targets air units that can target it, so like mutas are a specific and maybe relevant example. But here we go, back and forth, the Cyclones. There are some infestors though, and Dark lands the fungal, he's got infestors on every side. Oh, Dark from underneath is able to get all but one Banshee that he caught with the fungals. Oh, what a play. The burrow was clearly revealed, but I don't think Clem was thinking about the possibility of infestors. Just a beautiful fungal there. And a chain of them. He got the infestors around the back. He snuck them around because he knew the Banshees would retreat. So they flew into the secondary infestors. And he did all this while trading with the Cyclones. So far, Dark still has lost more, but this could have been much worse. If he doesn't catch those Banshees, they keep adding their damage, they keep whittling down the roaches and sniping bases, and things start to spiral out of control as Clem gets closer to 200 supply. But instead, Dark has forced Clem back to his side of the map. He's got a bead on exactly what he's trying to do. He's adding on the Hydralisks and the Hive. There's still going to be a significant window here where Clem has just a incredibly cost-effective army. Roaches just don't cut it. I don't care if you burrow underneath, you run right at their face, you drop in from overlords, all of those, it isn't going to matter too much. Now, Dark is the #1 Fester player in the world. I think Barnett. Better than Cyril, better than Raynor. Oh my god. His underhanded and underground strategies. Again, the burrow move roaches. Nowhere is safe. Build a Raven, Clem. One of the few times. He's already got Tech Lab starports, so... Really feels like a Raven. I feel like a Twitch chat YouTube commenter right now, but maybe one of the few times that a Raven would indeed... We might need to adjust this chart as well for recent events, but... Dark. Whoa. Just such... how many Zerglings? He's got 36 lings, and he's like, maybe I should get Zergling speed. Yeah, the Zergling's here. No Baneling Nest? He actually just wants him as part of the composition. Maybe something to absorb the lock-ons for the Cyclones. Getting melee attack upgrades, which might help Broodlords in the future. He's actually getting some battery pack Evo chambers. The Vipers pop out. Clem had to have seen them here. Meanwhile, most of Dark's army is looking towards the north side. No Baneling Nest feels like an oversight. Some Banelings wouldn't hurt. Drawing out more scans. I do love the way Dark is playing this. I wasn't sure what the best counter to the Hypermech composition is. It really has felt, if the Terran player gets a good start, like a good jump on the composition, then it becomes very hard, especially for a Zerg player on relatively low economy, to deal with it, because the units are all about being efficient and essentially abusing their range or cloak or all their mechanics. So here's Dark. It just burrows some infestors. Okay, why not? There's the Bane Nest, the Lurker Den, as we see him trend towards what will be the later game composition. But first things first. Large attack. Wow, that is a strong-looking army out of Clem. Clem doesn't actually have any upgrades. That is crazy. He doesn't... Does he even have an armory? He has 2 armories. Did he just forget about them? No, he's starting 1-1 now. Those are so late. Dark already has +2 ranged attack. I mean, so the Cyclones do spell damage with their lockout. The Hellbats and Hellions, the +15 bonus to light with Blue Flame is, I mean, it gets reduced by armor, but it's already a huge damage upgrade. So, upgrade's not a huge priority with this army, but still kind of crazy to me that he waited until over 12 minutes to even start them. In fact, his ghosts are going to have the armor upgrades before the mech units. The burrowed roaches. Oh my god, he wants these Hellions. And he's willing to pop up his entire army for them. He gets them. Clem's going to move into position. It's at this point I remind you that sensor towers do not provide detection. They only see units that could have been seen. Anyway, so he's not getting the little notifications. Yanks in a few of the Cyclones, but the ghosts move up. Double Spire is on the way. We're going for the Brood Lords, very likely here. More roaches sharking in. Scurrying under the ground. Skulking. Yeah, I like that one. Skulking was good. That was a good one. The planetary, well, doing what planetaries do best. EMP finally lands, but the Vipers already used most of their energy, so not gonna regret it too much. Whole bunch of Overseers there. They were actually absorbing some of the rapid-fire snipes. Greater Spire's on the way. Did he get the planetary? No. Okay, that was pretty costly, but part of it was Dark wanting to rebuild into Broodlords here. Well, here comes Clem. He's got 1-1 done, with 1+1 finishing on that armor. There's not that much. Can he neuroparasite some of these tanks, maybe? A lot of Hydras, but the Ghost landing the snipes. Ghost Mech now. One of the scariest armies. The only thing we're really missing are things like Liberators added in for the double siege. It's been a different road to get here, but a very similar composition we will end up at as even the standard bio. A lot of tanks, a lot of ghosts, and then fill in maybe some Hellbats. Dark just made 13 more Overlords. He wasn't supply blocked. I guess he just wants Overseers. He's making more. And it's too many. He's got 26. They each provide 8 supply, so do hatcheries provide as well. Whatever. Our Dark does as Dark do. We've seen him do some massive drops before. It's all on the table, or under the table, or around the table, or maybe watching from the corner near the table. That's probably most accurate. Greater Spire's done. Corruptor's on the way. Vipers sucking out some more energy from some of the battery pack Evo Chambers. Evo Chambers working hard. Triple upgrades right now for Dark. 6 Dropper Lords on the way. Okay, so that's how we're going to do it. Meanwhile, Ghost Mech for Clem coming together. Smart servos. Are there any Thors? No Thors. He's got 18 Ghosts. Okay, now he's building 3 Thors. I think he just scanned a Brood Lord or 2. Or 5. Yeah. Or yeah, 7. Sorry. That'll do it. Oh, this army. That's a lot of ghosts. If he could just EMP a ghost to EMP the ghost. Oh, I meant Neural Parasite. I skipped right to it. He needs to Neural Parasite a ghost to EMP the other ghost. The best counter to ghosts. It is well known. Now here come the Brood Lords. But the ghosts are going to land a few snipes before the fungals can come in. There are some Zerglings in the main from the Dropper Lords right now. Adrenal Gland's not quite done, but +3 attack and soon to be... Oh, he doesn't actually have the Carapace upgrade on the way. Brood Lords being added. The Zerglings will burrow in the main. The Thor, using him for target practice. Smart Servos is done, but the Brood Lords have pushed the army back so far. Clem's struggling to really deal with the main ball here. Blinding Cloud, EMP, but the Fungals, the units are all bunched up because they're trying to move through because of the Blinding Cloud as Dark stacks them up. The ghost count has dwindled here. The Brood Lords stutter stepping in the most awkward looking air. This is one of the most awkward animations. But it seems to be working, so... Awkward but seems to be working is Dark's middle name. You might be like, that's awkward. And then you'd be, shh, he's working. God, that was bad. Armor upgrades. There were still some Zerglings in the main. I don't know if they're from the initial drop or from any follow-up ones. More Banelings. Flyer Carapace level 1. Southern base not yet taken by either side. Northern base is creeped up. Hydroling Bane is where we end up. Yeah. Slowly but surely we get to that late game Thor, Ghost, Hellchad composition. Though here's the thing, is kind of weirdly, Clem doesn't actually have great mech upgrades. I mean, I was talking about it earlier, but going for that Hypermech composition means he didn't focus on the weapon upgrades. Which means he's not going to have those +3 Hellbats. Gonna make it that much harder to deal with the Broodlords. This feels like an awkward fight, but overall, Dark's still trading quite well. Loses a few more minerals, but he's also mined a bunch more. Clem is struggling to replenish his supply here. Dark isn't rich himself, but definitely he's sitting on a much more comfortable supply count. How many Broodlords left? 0. I guess they all died. And did he forget about his first lurker den? Or did he cancel it at some point? I'm not sure. I'm not sure at what point he didn't have the money. He had a lurker den, I think. I don't... Did the Vipers consume it to death? Oh my god, enunciate. 2 lurker dens. He decides that I want both upgrades at once. Or he forgot. And he's really thinking hard about the lurkers. Either way. This is one of the most dark games I've ever seen. Clem is... On paper, his army is amazing, but he just has not found any winning fights. Ever since the infestors fungled those banshees, Clem has been stuck kind of bottled up in his base. He's never really been able to move past the halfway mark of the map. And he's building the same stuff with better upgrades, and that might be the ticket. I don't know what else you would build, besides maybe some Liberators. Hydroling Bane and a drone just to top things off, a Predator drone for moral support. Gets roasted by a Hellbat, but that allows the Banelings a little more space to move through. Exactly the right amount of Banelings to kill that planetary, apparently. As he had none left over after the planetary died. 60 more Zerglings on the way. Seismic spines and adaptive talents. He's proving that it was intentional. Double upgrades for the lurkers. Ah! Jimmy, don't touch that. Nidus Network. Clem is... He feels like he's stuck. 57 more bait. Come on, Dark. Ah, yes, another round of Baneling should do the trick. You've already had 3 rounds. That's enough, Dark. No. This is my bar. You can't stop me. Technically. Well, here we go. Rolling in. There's not that many tanks because he's encouraged the Thors so much. Throw some mining clouds. The Banelings just right-click through, absorbing what damage they can. It's like Ice Baneling Escape. Oh, God. There's so much. The Hydra's adding so much damage on the backline. The Banelings are just tanky. He has no detection. He's just manually detonating. Dark is trying to kill Ghosts with no detection, and he's mostly succeeding. Though the ghosts that are left over definitely hurt. So, not an overwhelming success for Dark, but the tie goes to the leader, and Dark is certainly ahead. Was that too costly? He's getting 8 more lurkers. He wiped out as many ghosts as he could. Though he's encouraged siege tank production to resume, so those tanks do have 3-3 as well. A Nidus into the main. And the Lurkers are definitely a threat to the production. Most of the production is in the main. It's not scattered throughout as we sometimes see. Hellbats, a tank pops out. I don't know if the Lurkers will have anywhere to go. Yeah, he deals with it. Sieges up a tank in the main. Probably a small... Oh my god! 20 Lurkers out of nowhere. Here comes Dark with another tower defense wave. This is actually kind of a horrible angle, but the blinding clouds are going to be more than enough for the Lurkers to shred forward. This time, the snipes, there's not enough energy. The ghosts were cloaked for the entirety of that last fight. I didn't factor that in, but I'm sure Dark did. Oh, what a Zerg game this has been. I love Clem's Hypermech style, but it feels like he didn't capitalize on any of the advantages of that army composition. And now Dark is ripping him to shreds. And yes, to shreds, I say, as there's no other way to describe what it is the Lurkers are doing to everything that gets close. Yeah, while the ghosts were not dead, he forced them, by staying in that fight for so long, he forced the ghosts to drain their energy with Cloak. So they didn't even have snipes by the time he came back for another wave. Dark is playing that full wave defense Zerg. The Swarm overwhelms. And in game one, a comfortable victory for the Korean Zerg player. Oh, I wish I could play Zerg like that. He plays fantasy Zerg. It's like, that was a Wings of Liberty. I'll build this unit, and then that unit, and then this unit. And just keep sending in modified waves of different units. That's not supposed to work. And it really doesn't, unless you can batter the Terran's economy and force them into the wrong unit composition, which is very hard to do. We'll see if he can have a repeat in Game 2 on Neo-Humanity. One of our more dramatic maps with probably the most creative, or at least non-standard layout between the mineral wall third and the bone trench in the center with its rock towers. I can't believe he got so much with Brood Infestors. The crazy thing to me is how obvious it is in hindsight, but how impossible it is to predict. Because, like, Clem saw Bro move Roaches. It's not too much of a logical leap to think about Brood Infestors. But you don't expect him to already be out. And that's where he shines. He adapted that early Roach play, and I think he just continued going Roaches because he realized it was Mech. And Zerglings and Banelings just don't get work done against Cyclone Hellion, especially with Banshees that early. But the 4 Roaches that wandered across the map, he had 3 back at home, and that's part of the kind of defensive macro style that Zergs have been doing. Build 3 Roaches, you build more if they're going Hellbat. But he added 4 more Roaches and just snuck them out. So to Clem, if I'm assuming Clem's further ahead of the curve than I am, Clem knows, okay, he wants to build a lot of drones, so he tries to lay on the aggression. But then 4 Roaches show up and kill 10 SCVs. And he pulls his army back. Clem clearly a bit of panic there. This is all a fancy, long-winded way of saying Dark is in his head, but here we are. It's not even that I think Dark is playing like he's dismantling Clem. It's just his style. It's not like he tailors it to one or the other player specifically. That would give them too much respect. Instead, he just has this completely different flavor of Zerg that it's kind of like Coconut. Okay, he plays Coconut Zerg. Coconut, whether it's literal or artificial flavoring, it's not good. I don't know, like, when people are willingly put coconut in things, maybe I just haven't had great coconut things in the past. I don't know, like coconut icing or just like as a flavor, especially to sweet things. It's no, don't, stop it. It's wrong. I don't like it. And for you coconut enthusiasts out there, I bet you also like doing 2-base Nidus all-ins. Okay? That's what I have to say about that. Because the way Dark plays, coconutty. Here we are. Maybe a drink. Clem also doesn't like. Moving on. No, he's not going to get that creep tumor. Right? Yeah, 2 queens. Clem goes for 3 CC. We got a starport on the way. So far, Dark. Standard. Queens. Zerglings with speed. I'm gonna blow your mind. He's also building drones. Wild. Insane. Craziest build out of Dark. Craziest build you ever saw since the last TVZ. Will he add the Roach horn again? I don't know if this map is nearly as suited to it. It's partially because Grezvin is just such a distance between the players. This is much more of a Ling Bane counterattack style map. And this time it is going to be Bio out of Clem. Opting for the Marines, Stim, soon to be Medivacs. How many Hellions did he build in total? 4. The usual. Viking. And double NG Bay. Dark already working on getting that 4th base, mining through the golden mineral wall. It's just for fancy effect. There's 14 minerals. It's two trips. It just looks more dramatic if you have them as golden minerals. I guess they're technically slightly more, but if it ever comes down to those minerals being worth 4 more than your average mineral wall, well then, that is a game that I will clickbait even harder, because that is about... that is a 1 SCV of mineral difference. Roach Warren. But this is a different timing here. Interesting. Is he actually just going? Like, this might be a Ravager game. He didn't build any... Wow, he didn't build any Ravagers last game. He got a Zergling all the way... Well, he saw the entire base. He did a full lap. Completed it. Oh my god. Clem. Oh no. I don't know what happened there, but... Did he really think there... I don't think he's... That was just a misclick. He scanned his own base. If I have not seen... That is one of the most clear indicators of stress. Everyone's done it. Maybe if you use grid keys, the scan's right next to Mule. It's a very clear indicator of stress to me. Like, that Clem is really on edge right now. Back to just ogling over Dark. That's how you say that. Not a good word either way. A decent audio format, but not a great word overall. I feel like this is some deja vu here with the Hellions coming in, but he gets 4 drones? 6? Roaches show up. He built he built dozens of Roaches last game. Maybe over 100. Didn't build a single Ravager. All the gas went straight into tech infestors. But I think this game makes a lot more sense to add the Ravagers in. Does he have a Baneling Nest? No. He did get Zergling speed, but he is focused on range attack. Here's the thing with Dark, actually. With Terrans and sometimes with Protoss, this is also what I'm noticing. With Terrans and Protoss, we focus a lot on the Terran or Protoss builds, because the Zerg is kind of, at best, slightly different than previous Zergs. But with Dark, I find myself looking in his base to see exactly what he's doing a lot more often. He just commands that attention because of his creativity. His coconut Zerg builds. Tough to crack. Here are the Ravagers. He's already got the infestation, but Hive is on the way. Clem has built up to a pretty solid 1-1 push. He's got some tanks, though he hasn't and now he's bringing the tanks along. The Ravagers are already out. Dark is at the watchtower here, moving to intercept. He's got 1-1 complete. That's a lot of Zerg there, but Marine tank in a good spot could definitely challenge this. There are no Vipers yet. A scan on the 4th. Clem is not going to be happy to see that. That's a fully saturated 4th base. Clem really does need to get something done here. Is he's preparing for an attack. Oh, I mean he might attack, but is it because he saw the gas geysers not mining? Yes, Ravagers are scary, but no, here comes Dark. The bunkers may work. I don't think the bunkers are a huge commitment either way. It does seem a little odd to see that base fully mining and say, I need to go on defense right now. Because he knows that Dark has a 3rd as well, so that's clearly the 4th base. But playing it very careful here, but that cautiousness might actually end up backfiring. Because what he's done is essentially retreat at the timing before Dark had Hive Tech. So now Vipers are already gathering energy and will be online. Oof. It is intimidating to see that army. Ultralisk Cavern on the way. Where I don't know exactly where the Vipers are, but Baneling speed is done. Vipers should be joining the front soon, as Dark is very aware of the siege tanks. And of course, Vipers in general are good in... There's no bad spell casting for him to do, besides maybe abducting Marines. Is he going for the rock tower? Is he gonna close off the bone trench here? Wishes he could send in another Gorgon. That would be very helpful. Well, Clem has got a siege push stretched out across about half the map now. +1 melee attack is done, but here comes Dark. Blinding clouds from the back. Marines moving through it, but still very difficult to engage. The energy's gone on those Vipers, but still a lot of Banelings rolling in. Are there enough? The Ravagers adding a little more damage will take out a lot of the tanks. Clem a little far forward. Oh, almost incidentally killing the rock towers here. Dark is refilling with 68 Zerglings and 4 Ultralisks. What looked to be an okay battle for Clem. Overall, he took a slightly better trade, but he ends up losing 8 tanks with it. Whereas Dark lost Ravagers, Zerglings, Banelings, nothing he can't replace nearly immediately. It's tough, but overall, Clem just... it feels like he's half a step or more behind throughout both these games so far. The only, especially after those first Banshees were lost in Game 1, so... Dark here, those rock towers, or those cooling towers, or whatever they are, they drop the debris in the sensor. Once they go down, it's going to make things complicated, though I'm not sure which player is going to benefit more. Marines standing their ground, the 3-3 upgrade's still pretty far off. Chitinous plating about to complete the Ultralisk. In this scenario, where Ghosts are just now hitting the field, and Clem is still not comfortable with his siege tank count, I think now Ultras definitely could find some value, especially combined with this Lingbane Ravager composition. Though Dark is just working with whatever Ravagers he has left over. Good splits from Clem. Falling back, chitinous plating, finishes mid-fight. Parasitic bomb on the medevacs, not being microed. Ultras running through, forces all of the Marines and Marauders back into the 3rd. In fact, Clem, he A-clicks on his own command center. Having a tough time of dealing with these Ultras, falls back to some of the bunkers, which may actually save the day, though not the way he intended. Oh no, the corrosive miles landing somewhat on the medevacs, and Stutter stepping through to chase down the army. Still getting damage with the corrosive miles on the way out. Overall, Clem, he holds. And a very cost-effective fight for him. But at the end of the day, Dark is not worrying about cost efficiency. He's worrying about attrition. And right now, Dark has 3-4 more bases, arguably, though Clem is establishing that 5th base on the right side, which changes the equation somewhat. Dark is on 6 bases and adding a 7th. So overall with mules, Clem should be able to compete, but he has not been able to get to 200 supply. It's a real struggle to keep these units on the field, especially as the Ultras. Parasitic Bomb on the Medivacs. Ultras chasing through. Banelings rolling in. The Ultras getting caught on the siege tanks, allowing them to line up the snipes, those ghosts. The Planetary goes down as those Ultras chop through. A couple of them will escape. Ultra speed done. Dark unable to replenish his army entirely this time, for once at least. But 98 Zerglings in the production tab. He can't stop. He won't stop as he looks to overwhelm Clem. He killed a base. The rock towers still in the red HP. Maybe one of these siege tank shots will finally get it. We're still looking for it. A Baneling or two. The most exciting minigame. Still Zerglings coming through the center. Another orbital command has landed here, but we'll see how long it lasts. Not long at all. 9 more SCVs. Clem retreating under 150 supply. Liberators helping out on the back line. Few more snipes. Liberator needs to be targeted. Picks up some of the ghosts. Saves the day. Zerglings onto the third. 22 more SCVs have gone down in the last minute as Clem scrambles for his life and Dark refills for another wave. Clem has not, there's no counter aggression. I don't know what he's scanning for there. He's scanned like the random corner of the map. They're trying to open up some more avenues of attack. He's at 88 drones and counting. I think he keeps morphing some of them into like extractors and spines and adding more on to fully saturate. Clem has got no counter aggression. There's something up here. Finally finds a Liberator on a base that Dark doesn't really use right now. That's the give and take of this matchup is usually the Zerg with big waves of attack, and then the Terran with small, cost-effective counters that take away from the overall strength and economy of the Zerg. Whether it's a Medivac, Liberator, some combination of the two. But Clem has been on defense, aside from that single Liberator, for the majority of this game. And that continues as another attack heads down the center. Blinding Cloud. Parasitic Bomb softens up the Liberators. Even a few Ravagers added in to knock them down. I love that choice. Meanwhile, the tanks, the Ghosts at the back line are going to be able to snipe out the Ultras. And Dark will force the command center to lift again. This was a costly exchange. Once again, Clem takes a better fight. But the war, that one was pretty rough, actually. For once, I think Clem got the better end overall in terms of the state of the game. As didn't really lose any key units, didn't lose any key bases, and is left with enough army supply he feels comfortable sending out a medevac drop. And then the Banelings roll in, and that medevac drop is feeling a lot less comfortable. 7 infestors on the way as Dark starting to admit, maybe I would need a little bit extra here. Does he have pathogen glands? Of course he does. Clem, though, showing some tenacity. He's at 81 SCV, so as long as he has the mineral patches, going to be all right for now. Is Burrow done? Of course it is. Mining through the mineral wall. Nidus network on the way. That's his, essentially his filling in the blanks of the tech tree. We still haven't seen a Spire, though. Brood Lord's somewhat less effective. Well, here come the infestors. Blinding Cloud's looking great thus far. Lings and Banelings. Not that many Ultras left. He's trading them out mostly for the infestors here. Ravagers added in to deal with those Liberators still, but Clem holds strongly enough. What's happening over here? Found the Ultras! In the corner dealing with this Planetary. The Ghost will come up and reinforce in time. Clem feels strong enough to counterattack. 14 SCVs went down. Clem down to 47! Wow, dropped dramatically throughout the last minute or two. That is not enough to maintain for now. Not that much energy on the infestors. A couple more fungals. Catches the medevacs. But the Wombo combo Fungal and Parasitic Bomb is not coming together. Looks for the Corrosive Bows, doesn't quite find it. A lot of ghosts in the army for Clem. 11 ghosts. Lands an EMP on the Infestors. Only one left with energy. And Dark is scrambling, but a Nidus in the main. Just when you think he's pushed back, he opens up another avenue of attack. The Infestors pre-spread somewhat. Those Zerglings still going through the precarious center, which is still, we're waiting for it. It's been in the red for so long. Nidus into the main, though. Clem's attention going to be drawn back. Yes, setting up units to deal with it, but a second Nidus being added on as the Zerglings are spit out one by one, starting to overwhelm the reinforcements of Clem. Another Nidus, and Dark has just decided to go around. He's circumventing the army. All the ghosts and the tanks are at the front. Clem is too far out to go back. His production is crumbling. Ultras trickling in to the 3 o'clock base here. The Baneling, why is the Baneling nest there? Oh my. Well, the double Nidus is still in the main. Clem loses the base on the right flank. He still has a very strong army, but Dark has picked apart literally the every single base is under attack. The first, second, third, fourth, fifth, and the sixth base can't even be taken because there's a burrowed Zergling. Dark is everywhere. Clem. What a tough fight. Clem finally started taking the cost-effective fights, but Dark, he changed tactics, and Clem just couldn't hold on. Tough to watch, but it was pretty clear, I think, that Dark had a command of the situation. Clem not able to compete with the final boss this time around. And that'll be 2-0 to Dark. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to check out this video Jimmy put up just for you. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you've enjoyed my commentary. IEM Katowice and continue to. I'll see you next time. I hope I made your day a little bit better. Good luck, have fun. Stay chill.